Hi there, and welcome to part 2 of our AADA10 course tutorial series, where we are still looking into basic stuff in Rhino, but now at least I will start actually modeling the pavilion, so maybe that's going to be a little bit more interesting for those of you who are already familiar with Rhino. It's not going to be anything too fancy. I will try to cover as many different methods of modeling and tools of modeling as possible, but I will not go into deep detail into these kind of very niche tools and so on. I will not be covering those. Said that, I have planned later on down the line, probably still during this year, I will be creating an additional tutorial series with advanced 3D modeling techniques, where we are going to look into much more complex tools than what you would expect to see in these tutorials. But that's going to be probably in November. For now, let's begin working on this little pavilion. Well, I say little, but actually it's pretty large, I believe. Let me use distance command to check what I did last. 32 meters by 8 meters. Okay, so it's not little by no stretch of imagination. It's quite large, actually. Let us see how can we make it nicer, Well, I still want to keep it as this kind of boxy shape, right? So I will, the plan is to have it, let me just copy the slab upwards by 3 meters. Still want to have it like boxed in like that, without any fancy changes in the form or the outline of the pavilion itself, the footprint. Yeah, the correct term is footprint of the pavilion itself. Why did it become so dark? Hello, there we go. So I want to keep it square or rectangular, but what happens inside of it, we can mess around with that. So let's do it. I will take this floor slab that I've created, because this is stuff on which I will build the pavilion. And first of all, I will just take a single point, and I will put it where I want, like on the edge. So make sure that object snap is turned on, and also that I believe nearest snap should be fine. So nearest snap is turned on so that you can snap to an edge of the box. And wherever I want to have entrance or exit of the pavilion, I'll just put a point so that I don't forget, right? So I guess there can be the entrance. And also kind of here, maybe. Oh, this is right on the middle. Yeah, sure. I'll add 1 point there, right? So it's going to be like this walk-through pavilion. I think that's going to be quite nice. Okay, let me now select the box, select the 2 points, holding down the shift key. I accidentally selected the landscape as well, so to unselect it, to remove it from selection, I'll just hold down the control key and click on it. So now I do have my floor slab and my point selected. Let me just isolate them. So what isolate is, let me first type it in. Isolate, enter. So what isolate is, it basically hides everything except for the geometry that you have selected while you were running the isolate tool, right? So it's basically hide everything except what I have selected type of a tool. All right, so I have this floor slab to work with, and let me make sure that I am working in the helper layer, so that's great. That basically helper layer is where I will keep all of my geometry that is just there to help, right? That's why I call it helper layer. So let's see what we can do. Maybe we can start working with curves on top of the surface of this floor slab. So that means to work on top of the surface of the floor slab, I will need to make sure that all of the points, when I'm creating a polyline or curves, all of the points that I'm snapping to are points around the edges of the surface, right? They can't be at the bottom of the surface and so on, because then my curves will be three-dimensional. I want them flat, right? So I can only snap to the perimeter of the top surface of the slab. So let's see how we can do that. I will take my control point curve here, like that. I'll start from bottom left, and maybe so the first control point is the bottom left, then the second control point might be the middle edge here, middle of the edge. Let me zoom in so that you can see better. Right, this point here. So you can see it's basically creating starting to draw a curve along this, but since I'm not snapping to, the third point is snapping to the ground, it's becoming three-dimensional. And again, I don't want it to happen, right? So I need to snap. What do we do? Do we do perpendicular? Yeah, let's do perpendicular. So I do perpendicular snap here, and I finish up on this opposite corner here. Once I'm done, I just hit enter. So enter button will finish it up, and I have a nice little curve here doing its thing. All right, so I have that. And that curve in particular is going to be like the axis of my pavilion. Let me actually give you an idea of what I'm trying to do. So I have let me draw it in 2D. So I have a pavilion. Blue is not great for this. There we go. I have a pavilion, right? Well, maybe it's not that fat, not that thin. It's a little bit fatter, right? And I have my landscape all over the place, and I have an entrance, right, to the pavilion, which is marked out by this point right here, and I have an exit from this pavilion, which is marked out by a point right here, right? So this is basically me showing you that, right? So now all of you are following me. And then what I'm doing is I'm creating a central axis that is not just this, right? Well, actually this would be the simplest central axis here, but I'm not doing that. Instead, I am doing a twisted one, like that. Right? Only that I'm doing it in on the floor slab and not in 2 dimensions. Okay, so I have that, and then my plan is to actually draw. So basically take this entrance point and make it wider, right? So to incorporate the actual thickness. Is it thickness? Width. The actual width of it became freaking, there we go, right again. Actual width of the path that goes into the pavilion, because right now it's marked out by a point. I need it to be wider, right? So I'll just take that point, I'll move it to the side by let's give it like 2 meters, something like that. And then I'll maybe do something like F8 to snap it to vertical direction. Let's say 2 meters up, then snap to perpendicular here, and then maybe 5 meters up again. No, 5 is a bit too... So here I'm working with proportion, right? I know that this curve is going to work, but I'm working with what will look nice. So I can see that 5 is not, sorry, is it 5? 3? No, that 5 is not going to look nice, or maybe it will. We will need to see. But the thoughts are, what if I take this curve then and take this control point and move it up by 3, like so, so that it becomes a much more of a wave. And then let me do tween curves. Remember from the previous tutorial, tween curves, and just see how one curve will bleed to the other. That's actually not bad. Of course, there's a lot of curves right now here, but I think that is okay. It gets super dense there, but that's fine. Okay, sure. So I'll do something like that, only with my three-dimensional shape. So where do we start with? Well, we start with these points, right? If I show, so if you type in show, it will show the landscape as well, right? Cool. So since it's showing the landscape, I can see that this point right here can be moved to the, basically away from this curve, so along this edge. See how I snap to the edge, to the red edge here? It's important to do that. Oh my god, I need automatic ISO values here. Nope. Yep. So again, I'm snapping to the edge of the floor slab, right? And I'm typing in a number, right? By how much do I want to move along that edge? So I'll type in 2, hit enter, and now it doesn't matter where I snap, it's going to move by 2, right? So let me just snap to the edge here again. So now that point was moved along the edge by 2. I'll do the same thing here, only to the opposite side, because I want to make a little bit larger of a gap here between this form here and the point. So move that point from here to here by 2 again. Okay, so we have that done. And actually, I'll hide the landscape. So by the way, hide the landscape, right? To hide the landscape, you can either turn off its layer preview, or you can just select the landscape and type in hide. If you know that you will keep hiding stuff and you will forget about it, and then you will think, why is my computer so laggy? Then it's better to do it with the layers, right? But if you're very clean in the way you work, then it's fine to just use hide. And then if you want to show it again, you type in show and hit enter, and then it will show the landscape. So it's hide, show, isolate, 3 tools. All right. So in terms of this whatchamacallit, procedure. Let's call it procedure. Let me just create a control point curve again. And this time I will snap to, let's start with this point. So I will snap to this point. So I'm starting to draw from it. I'll make sure that helper layer is the active one. And I'll turn off ortho just for now. So I'll snap to perpendicular point or direction on the opposite edge on this top surface, right? Like that. But I will not be snapping directly to it, but rather by doing so, I just describe the direction, and now I will type in a number, right? So I'll type in and how long do I want, or how big of a gap do I want between the first control point and the second control point of my curve. So I'll type in 5 meters. Again, snap to perpendicular, and it starts drawing it in 5 meters, right? So now I need, from this point, I need a 90-degree angle snap to this point right here, which is again a perpendicular snap. So that works out, right? Perpendicular is 90 degrees, right? So that works out. I just click to snap, and then I will probably move by 2 meters right here and snap again. So the last point is along this edge, moved by 2 meters. If you want to, like, let's say you do it, right? And then you look at it and you go like, it could be better, right? You can select the curve and it either will show you the control points of the curve by default, or if it doesn't, you can type in points on, or hit F10 on your keyboard. And then you will be able to, for instance, take these 2 points and M, enter, short for move. So you select the points, you type in M, enter, and then you move them, let's say, from this point along the edge by 2 meters, right? So just boop, slides along the edge. And thus you create a bigger gap, and so it becomes a little bit nicer. I wonder, maybe this point should be like that, and then to here. And then this guy can be 2 more meters here. I think that's going to do the trick. Looks quite intense, but I think it's going to look nice. So let's see what kind of qualities we would get if I were to use tween between 2 curves. So tween curves, enter. And let me hide the floor slab just for a second. So I get something like this. I think that's fine. I think that this is something we can work with, and I'll explain why am I looking at tween in just a second. But this just, or actually I can do it now. It shows me the way one form bleeds into the other form, right? So this is just my approach of working with curvature. Yours might be different. Okay, so we have that. Let me undo a bunch of times, and let me repeat the same procedure with the other point, right? So there, I purposely made 2 points just because it will force me to repeat myself in every step that I do, right? So control point curve again, and this time I'll do it faster, of course. Control point curve, I start from this point, I snap to perpendicular, but instead of clicking, I type in 5 so that it's only 5 meters long. Click. Then I snap to perpendicular right here, and I end up along this edge by 2 meters again here, right? So I type in 2 meters and move them along this edge. And then I fix it by taking this point and moving it back by, let's say 3 meters, maybe more. Let's go for 5 meters, like that. Yeah, that's good enough. So now I don't need the points anymore. So I just select them and delete them. And I have my 3 curves, right? So all I did in this whole time is just create 3 curves, but that is a-okay with me. Okay, so we have these 3 curves are going to be, how do I explain it? These 3 curves are going to be like the basis of the building, right? Now let me do walls. So actually I will have 3 walls here in this building. Wall A, wall B, wall C, right? Or rather wall A, B, C, right? So this is the main one. The main wall, let me just quickly do I? Sorry, I'm blabbing, but I'm thinking and doing at the same time and also explaining. Just a second, I need to think about this. Okay, so this wall is going to be volumetric, right? It's going to have thickness. And why are the trees here? Go away, trees. So I just hide the layer. So the wall will need to have thickness. If I do it now, let me just show you real quickly, and I will not even explain what I'm doing. Right, I give it thickness, so now it's let me go for Arctic view. I give it thickness, so now it's a thick wall, and it kind of snaps quite nicely. It's a very awkward area here, but that's fine. But this wall kind of works in this matter, in this case, but it doesn't work here, right? That's because it's being thickened to one side, right? If I do it on the other side, right? Like that, right? So it's clean here, the connection is clean here, but then it messes up here, right? So there's no correct answer in this case. What I'm going to do, see that? What I'm going to do is I will take that curve that I have, and I will preemptively let me think. I will need to preemptively move that curve, the control points of that curve according to the thickness of the future wall that is going to be. So notice how the wall was overlapping. So first of all, I need to decide what is going to be the thickness of that wall, and I'm thinking, since this is like a core wall, I will have it as 30 centimeters, right? It doesn't have any insulation, but it's still going to be a thick boy, right? So 30 centimeters. So what I'm going to do is I'll take this point here and this point here, these 2 points, I will move them along this edge, right? Because this is like a 90-degree angle edge, right? So might as well use it. I'll move them along this edge by 0.3 meters, like that. So you can see the gap here. So there's a gap there, but there is no gap here. That's because, now hopefully it's going to make sense to you, we extrude the curve up by 3 meters. No, let's do more. Let's do, how much do we do? Let's do 5 meters. No, 5 is a lot. But this is a long pavilion. Yeah, let's do 5 meters. So I extruded the curve by 5 meters up, like that. So thus I have a surface. And then, sorry. And then I take the surface and I can either use extrude surface tool, that would work, or I can use offset surface tool, that would also work. So whichever you're more comfortable with. I can show you an explanation of what's the difference between the two. Let me just make a very funky surface, something like that. And let me make a copy of it. So I have 2 surfaces, right? On one of them, I will use extrude SRF, extrude surface, and make sure that solid is set to yes, and delete input is set to yes, right? So I extrude it up, and it creates this kind of a geometry. And why is it so? If it's so jagged, if it's so messed up, then you can actually type in options and you can go to mesh. And here you can just choose smooth and slower, and then it's going to kind of smooth it out a little bit. If it's still not that nice, then you can use custom settings and detailed controls, and here you can kind of go to town on it. Maximum angle, actually the maximum angle that I want is 5. Okay, that was nope. Now you'll be looking how I mess up my whole damn. Oh no, my Rhino. Oh no, please. Maximum aspect ratio, minimum action. Actually, all of that is fine. Maximum distance edge to surface 0.001. That is 10 centimeters, 1 centimeter, 1 millimeter. Okay. Oh, Rhino. Oh, Rhino. Let me just go to options, smooth and slower. But just leave it be. You know, just choose smooth and slower if you want a nicer result. Okay. Let's continue with the tutorial. So this is extrude surface, right? Offset surface, offset SRF, enter. First of all, we'll ask you to choose the direction. Well, actually, extrude surface also asks you, would you like to extrude up or down? But here, basically, you just change the direction by clicking on the surface, and you can see the arrows will flip over. And then here, the distance, you just type in what kind of distance you want. So let me just type in like 5. I have no idea what's the size of this, but I think 5 meters will be big enough, right? And I hit enter. Okay, so what's the difference, right? With extrude surface, it was thickened according to one single direction. So all of the points of the surface were moved along one direction, right? Offset surface that direction in which the control points are copied, you know, to create a second surface, a thickness, that direction relies on the perpendicular vectors from that surface, right? So if I do something like this, something like that. So now I'm creating a section through these. So notice how on the offset surface, it's going to always keep the same thickness, while here, the thickness changes according to the angle of the surface, right? So that's the main difference, right? For double curved surfaces, offset surface is usually a better idea. But yeah, so in this case, it's actually going to be quite the same result. Be it we are using offset surface or extrude surface. Just because it's going to be harder to use extrude surface with this one, let me show you how to do that, right? So I'll select this surface. I'll type extrude SRF, extrude surface, and see it tries to extrude it up or down, right? Which makes no sense, right? In Rhino. In this case, right? So how do we fix that? Well, we fix that by choosing direction for extrusion. Here, I click on direction, and then I will specify that, well, the direction needs to be from here to here, right? So we're basically extruding along that vector. So now it makes sense. And I just type in 0.3. Right? That's the thickness of my wall. Hit enter, and we are done. We have a wall. All right. So now we have our wall, a single wall done, and I will want to do it with the other two. How do we achieve this? Sorry, I'm now just thinking out loud. So one thing that I really want to do here is three-dimensionality, right? I want this to be this wall and this wall, these two. to be three-dimensional. And actually, go away, floor slab, height. I don't need the floor slab anymore. I will work only with these. It's a good idea to always hide stuff so that you're not overwhelmed by the amount of geometry that you need to deal with at once. So you only work with stuff that you actually need to see. Okay. So this. Let me take these two and copy them up. So holding down Alt key, I will press on the arrow, gumball arrow up. Let me copy them up by 3 meters. Is it 3? No, I think we used like 5 meters for the large wall. So let me do 5 meters actually. Like that. Okay, so we have that going on. And then let me take the top curve here. And actually let me use only these 2 control points and move them down by minus 2.5 meters. Okay? Minus 2.5. And I'll do the same thing with this this curve here. These 2 control points. Again, if you don't see the control points, it's F10 or the command points on. So take those 2 points, move them down by minus 2.5. This one is a little bit too intense, so let me create a new layer, call it walls. Let's learn how to write walls. Walls, there we go. And change object layer. Just so that, you know, it's not so much there's not so much blue in your face. Okay, so we have this, and let me make them volumetric. So I will take these 2 curves and I will loft them. So you select both of them and you type in loft and you just hit OK. So that's done. And then actually I don't need the curves anymore. So I will need the curves, but that's going to be later. So I will just be deleting them right now. Delete. And I will select these 2 curves here as well. Right, like that. Loft. Okay. Delete. Right. Whoops, accidentally pressed the wrong button. So now we have 2 surfaces. We need to make them volumetric, and in this case it's going to be quite easy, right? We just need to select the first one and we offset surface. This time I'll use offset surface. I will not use extrude surface. Offset surface, and I will offset it by, this one can be weaker, so 0.2 meters. It's still pretty thick, but 0.2 should be fine. So it gets offsetted. Don't worry about the amount of ISO curves that it gets. Rhino really likes to increase the resolution when it's doing the offset. And here as well, offset surface inwards, just like that. Okay, we have 2 volumetric curves here. That's nice. And now, actually I don't like this height. This is a little bit too high, because if a person is like 2 meters high, for a pavilion this is way too much, right? So I will undo, Ctrl Z 2 times, and I will just select these 2 surfaces here, this one, these 2 surfaces, and I will type in points on for them, points on. We can't really work with that, can we? That this is too many control points. Okay, sure. Undo more until we're back to the 4 curves, right? The curve that was moved and the control points that were moved. And I'll just take the top control points here and I'll move them down by, let's say just 1 meter, right? 1 meter down here. And these 2 control points also -1 downwards. That's it. And then I can just repeat the same procedure. Loft, delete, loft, delete, offset surface on both of these. Inwards, inwards, that's perfect. 0.2, that's perfect. Okay, that's done. Right, so all I did was just make sure that it's not that high, right? It was way too high. All right, so now let me show, actually let me show you one more tool that's, that's all about showing and hiding geometry, and it's called show selected. Show selected, with show selected, it will flip over to hidden geometry, to everything that is hidden in your scene, and it will let you click on the stuff that you want to unhide, right? So I select the floor slab and then I hit enter. And suddenly the floor slab appears in my overall view. Okay, so we have that, and we have all of that. Okay, so let me take these two surfaces and put them in the walls layer, like that. And let's see what we can do. So what I want to do is I want to get some curves and use the tween curves tool on them. Actually, how tall is this distance? From here to here, 2.5 meters. So we can kind of do 2 meters, 2 meter high ceiling, right? So we have 50 centimeters to work with in terms of the ceiling. Yeah, that's fine. I think we will manage. Okay, so back to, remember tween between two curves? I want curves to tween between. To do that, I will use tween curves tool. And actually, I will not be using any curves because I don't have any curves left here. I will instead be choosing this edge. So a surface edge can also be considered a curve, and this edge here. And I'll be deciding on wait, that's a weird area right there. Maybe I don't want that, sorry. Tween between this and this edge. Like these two edges, and number of curves, how many I want between, should be less. I think 15 will do the trick. 15 indeed does the trick, and it should be a-okay. We will need to fix that area, but that's fine. We will be fixing it in just a little bit. 15 is maybe a bit too much still. 10. Yeah, 10 is going to be okay. So 10 curves between those two, enter. I end up with 10 curves here, and 10 curves between this bad boy and this bad boy. And I end up with, well, see how it messes up? It messes up because it considers this to be the starting point of this curve, and this to be the starting point of this curve, right? So it's kind of inside out, right? To fix that, I just click on one of the start points, and then it just aligns itself properly again. And then I hit enter. So we end up with a bunch of curves. Okay, let me select all of them and use isolate on them. Isolate. And now, what we will do is just use offset on them. Do we use offset? Yeah, let's use offset. So let me do it with one of them, and then I will do it with the rest much faster. So I select one of the curves, and I will choose to offset that curve, and definitely not by 50, but rather by, let's go for 7.5 centimeters. Oh, that's meters. So 0.075. That would be 7.5 centimeters. But rather than offsetting it like this, I want to offset it to both sides so that it's a 15 centimeter. Actually, 15 centimeters is too much. So 0.05. So 5 centimeters to one side. If it's to both sides, it will become 10 centimeters, right? So I will choose both sides option right here. Click. Now it's going to be offset to both sides by 5 centimeters each. And I'll choose to cap to be, do we do none or do we do flat? Or do we do round? No, we do none, sorry. So cap we leave as none. Yeah, that should be fine, right? So I just checked all other options, they are fine. So we just offset to both sides by 5 centimeters. Okay, click. That's it. That's done, right? And then I will just take those two curves. I will loft between them. Like that. That's it, right? We have one ribbon done. And I'll kind of repeat, or rather, let's finish up this ribbon and then I will continue working with all other ones. So once I have this flat ribbon, I will use offset surface, or no, let's use extrude. Extrude surface downwards. So direction, I just typed in D, enter, that's short for direction, or you can click on direction. I'll just specify that the direction needs to be, come on, ortho. Okay, ortho is not working. Let me just jump to front view and here type in, or not type in, but choose to use ortho. So direction is definitely downwards, like perfect downwards. Like that. And just type in 0.5, I guess. Oops. No, 0.4. So that the ceiling height is at least 2.1 meters at the minimum. If I choose to show selected and just to, for just a tiny bit, show, you know, my pavilion, I can see how the ribbon kind of connects, and I already see some parts which I will need to fix and solve. But that's fine. We will do that without any problems, I think. All right. So now let's probably do it for all other curves, right? So I will just offset everything first. Offset, come on, both sides, like that, both sides, like that. I can just do B, enter, B, enter. I don't know why it doesn't remember, oops. I don't know why it doesn't remember both sides for offset, but it doesn't, so that's weird. And for some reason it's, oh my god, offset, both sides, please. Yes, there we go. So you can see that there's no, in some cases there's just no shortcuts, right? There are no shortcuts that you can take. You just sit down and you just do it, right? And honestly, there are no jobs that take longer than, I don't know, an hour to do. There might, you know, these kind of repetitive tasks, you would be really surprised how much of a repetitive task you can do in an hour, even though it's boring. Okay, we have that done. Let me get rid of the black ones, the center lines. I don't need them anymore, so I'm just removing them, not it. Like that, like that, like that, that, and now I'll just use loft. on these two, on these two. Oops, don't accidentally move them. Like that, 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 like that, like that. I'm losing my mind here a bit. Not my mind, my vision. Blue color was not the best color to choose. But now, when I have a bunch of surfaces here, and let's say I want to select all of them at once, I can type in cell srf. That's short for select surface, meaning it will select all of the surfaces in the scene. Enter. It doesn't select this one because it's a poly surface, not a surface, right? So it selects all of the surfaces, and I can use extrude surface, extrude srf on all of them at the same time, right? And then I just type in 0.4, and yeah, we're done. So now let me get rid of the curves. So CRV, select curve, hit delete, and that's it. We have it somewhat cleaned up. So this area right here will definitely need to be solved, will need to be cleaned up. But for now, let's just check what kind of aesthetic are we getting, and if it's, you know, if it's cool with us, do we like it? So I'll just show everything. I'll turn on tree geometry as well, and just take a look at the pavilion. So it is quite symmetrical, which I kind of like. I think that's a nice little thing. That it does. Let me jump to Arctic view and turn off, where was it? Tangent edges? No. Tangent seams? No. Come on. Surface ISO curves? Yes. Okay. I mean, it's not great. It's not the best pavilion out there, but it is, you know, a good nice start, I think. So we can work with this. Okay. So now let's jump back to the shaded view. And let's see what else we can do. So first I want to do this kind of block out, right? Turn on the light. First I want to do this kind of block out, which is basically just going to be me adding geometry, like creating surfaces and whatnot. So the next thing about the block out is going to be, again, me hiding the landscape. We're not there yet. I'm still not working with the landscape. Me working with this terrace here. And this terrace here, right? What do we do with these terraces? So let's see what we can do with them. I will probably let's do one thing. Duplicate edge, like that. So duplicate edge to get that surface. Duplicate edge will take an edge of a surface and will extract it for you as a curve, right? So you type in duplicate edge, you click on the surface of on an edge of a surface, and it will give you back a curve, right? So it's going to create a curve instead of an edge, which is quite useful because now I have this as a curve, which means I can use offset on it, and I can say 3 meters. Do we do 3 meters? 3 meters seems to be a lot. Or do we do it in a clean way? Let's do it in a clean way. Okay, so we did duplicate edge here. I will do duplicate edge again. Dup edge on this edge here, on this edge here, this edge here, this edge here, and this edge here. And I'll explain why I'm doing it in just a second, but just these edges. So now I will select all of my curves that I have here, and I'll type in isolate, right? To come back to this isolated view. And I will just select everything again, and I'll type in trim, and I'll get rid of this part and this part, right? So trim just basically uses one curve to cut the other, same thing as in AutoCAD. So we have that, those curves, and I will use, how is it called? Planar SRF, planar surface on these two curves, and it's complaining a bit. Let me just press yes. Yeah, okay. It worked out. So if yes, it is happy. I hit delete to get rid of the curves. So now I have two surfaces instead of them. So planar surface will create a surface or series of surfaces for you as long as the curves are flat. And I knew for a fact that those curves are flat. So I have those two surfaces here, and let me extrude them up, and just give them like not that large of a thickness. Let's say 15 centimeters, so 0.15 meters. That's a bit, no, 0.25, like 25 centimeters, I think is a bit better. Right, let me show to kind of unhide or unisolate everything. And then while I still have these two surfaces selected, I will take them, move them up until they meet this point right here. It should be correct on the other side as well. Yes, it is. Okay. So I have this kind of a, I don't even know how to call it, like a roof thingy. I know at this point this is starting to look real bad, but this is me showing you all different tools on one form, so don't expect that the form is going to look good by the end. That is not something that I'm aiming towards. I'm aiming towards showing you as many different tools as possible. All right, so we have that done. Yikes. At least, okay, so at least I will do something like box here. I'll choose 3-point box, and I'll just add a point at the corner. So my box will start from the corner. It will move along this edge, or not move, but be created along this edge. And I'll say 1 meter, 1 meter long. And then so that's my second point, and my third point of a box is along this edge, and I'll just specify 0.3 meters. And I'll just, for the height, I will snap to the bottom of this, rooftop or roof slab. And then I will take this shape, this column shape, and I'll move it in by 0.5, by half a meter here. And also I will move it in by 0.5 by half a meter, like so. Right? So now it's at least this roof is being held by something, right? And then I will take this column and I will use mirror, and I'll mirror this column to the other side here. So the way mirror works is, let's say you have, let's go for top view. Let's say you have a circle, right? And on the circle you use mirror, right? And you start from this point, right? And you just mirror it like so. Yeah, sure. This line works as a mirror, the circle gets copied to the other side. Or rather, instead of a circle, let's use ellipse, so that you have the sense of direction. Again, mirror, this ellipse, other side, easy. What if I start mirroring it at an angle, right? The ellipse is also going to be there's always going to be an axis for mirroring, right? So when I if I want to take this column and I want to mirror it here to the opposite side of this box, that means all I need to do is just snap to this corner point here and this corner point here, and it's going to mirror. See, mirror. So this box gets mirrored from here to here, and it doesn't work. Yay! I'm stupid. Oh god damn it! And I did this whole spiel about how you can mirror it and then so on, and how mirror works, and now it doesn't work, and I feel stupid. Okay, let's do it the old school way. At least now you know what not to do. So I take this box, copy, I type in copy, and I will be copying it from its back side corner, from here, to the corner here, right? That's easy. And I will select it. By the way, if you're having trouble zooming in or zooming out from geometry, just make sure to, or rather the tool that you can use is called ZS, zoom selected. It will zoom into the stuff that you have selected in the scene, right? Very useful. ZS. Okay, so I have it here, and I'll use 0.5. Hello, 0.5, and then 0.5 to the side. Just like that. Perfect. All right, we have it done. Then we have the entrance here. We will fix the entrance in just a bit. Actually, maybe I want to fix it now. So, if you look at the landscape geometry and the trees, right, we have the entrance here, and also we have the entrance here, but there's no possible way to move through the building, right? Because there's a wall in between. I want to fix that. I want to get rid of not get rid of the wall, but I need to make a hole in the wall. How do you make a hole in the wall? Well, you can either use Boolean difference. I already showed you Boolean difference with the landscape, or you can use like you can rebuild this surface, this poly surface, right? So let me show you the second version, or rather, let me show you both of them. I'll isolate it, and I'll do the Boolean difference thing fast, right? So I just create a box that will definitely intersect with my shape, right? Or not necessarily a box, any kind of solid geometry, and I will use Boolean difference and take the surface and take the surface or poly surface and Boolean difference out, and that's it. You know, we have a cutout. Nothing too fancy, very straightforward. Just follow the instructions on the command line and you'll get there. Another way of how to do this would be if I take the surface and I use explode on it, or take this poly surface and use explode on it, and unselect, now we can see that this poly surface has been exploded into multiple surfaces, right? And I will get rid of all of the ones that are in the middle, like that. So I'm left with only the top surface and the bottom surface, right? And I will take the bottom surface and I'll hit F10 or points on, and I'll just kind of look at how many control points does it have. And I can see that it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 control points, right? For this to work, I need more. And I need more control points in one direction, in the direction where it has 4 control points. So let me rebuild this bottom surface. Rebuild this bottom surface. And you can see that by default it has 4 by 2. I will keep the 2 points, but here I will increase it to, I want to say 8, but maybe 6. We'll see. Let's do 8. And then here where it says degree, I will just, for U degree, I will change this to 3. For V degree, I will probably also 3, just to keep it consistent. I already talked about degrees a lot during the previous tutorial, so I will not be explaining it anymore. It's okay. Virtually nothing changes, but now if I do points on, I can see that I have more control points to work with, which means I can take the ones that are in the middle and I can move them up, but by let's say 3 meters, like that, and I will end up with this kind of form, right? And now all I need to do is just create, recreate the surface here, like the ribbon between these two, the top surface and the bottom surface. How do I do that? Well, I can select both of these and I can type in dupe, short for duplicate, dupe border, duplicate border. I hit enter. And what it gives me is, let me just move it to the side for just a bit. It gives me 2 curves, 2 closed curves, which are basically, these are indeed closed curves, which are basically outlines of the outer edge of the surface, right? So dupe edge would just give me a single curve from that particular edge, while dupe border gives me the whole perimeter, right? So let me move the borders back to where they were, and now we can just loft between them, like that. Make sure that the directions are correct and so on. Hit OK. That's it. Now you don't need the curves, so you delete the curves. You select everything, and you type in join to join it up into one single. 3 surfaces or polysurfaces joined into one closed polysurface, right? So this is a single closed wall. Perfect. Show to show everything here, and now your visitors are able to walk through this pavilion. Yay! I probably need to do the same thing here, but I am a little bit lazy, so I will do. What do we do? Let's just do a door. Okay, let me do this because it's not me being lazy, it's just me showing you different techniques. Let's call it that. So I will create a box, a 3-point box. So I choose 3-point again. From let's say here until here, extends through here, and the height is, so here it's 2.2. No, I only need 2.1. Upwards. Hello, why are you not upwards? Well, that's fine. If it's not creating it upwards, then we can create it downwards and then just take that box and move it, like force it to move up by 2.1. Right, so it's going to be in the correct position either way. And then we just do, we select the wall, we do Boolean difference, select the box, delete the box, and then we have our wall. And just to make it nicer, I will use fillet edge. Let's see if radius of 1. Radius of 1 is a little bit big. So instead of radius of 1, let's do radius of 0.5. On this edge and this edge, like that, should be good. Yeah, you know, just a small thing. Ooh, what if we do it on here as well? Why not? Cute. Okay. So we have that. I will kind of repeat it here. So just bear with me for a second. It's going to be fast, actually. Let's do 1.2 like that, and then 2.1. Why does it keep going down? I don't know. 2.1. Boolean difference with the box. Delete the box. Fillet edge. Where? Hello? Yeah, there we go. Fillet edge. This guy. This one. This one. This one. There we go. Nice little thing. I need to do this. I mean, I really hate how the corners look like, so let me do fillet edge with radius of 1 for this corner here, for this corner here, and also this corner here. Yes, just a tiny bit better. Okay. So we have that, all of this seems to be a-okay. We have some seating areas, we have some trees. Let's look at it in the Arctic view and just investigate how it looks like. Actually, not that bad. Like, there are still things that I want to fix for sure and then detail out. For instance, here it's just obnoxious, like horrible. And also the pathway, there's, you know, this is not solved. This is real bad. Like the way landscape needs the floor plate, this is horrible. But other than that, I think this is okay. So let me do the landscape real quick. So for that, we need some sort of a strategy. And my strategy is going to be, what's my strategy? Just getting the floor slab, and actually not just getting the floor slab, but also these two walls. And for now, hiding everything else. So using isolate on them. And so I need a line, any line that would be 90 degrees to this edge here. So I'll just start from here and just draw it perpendicular to this edge. So now I have a flat line that is, you know, in the correct direction, and it doesn't matter where I put it, it's, you know, the direction is correct. So I have this line here, and this is my twisted little line, and I will move it from this point to this point, right to the edge here. So this is how the pathway will need to touch, right? Right. This is how pathway will need to touch, and then it's going to do the same thing on the other side. Copy from here to here, like that. Let me show selected. Let me just look at the landscape real fast. Ugh, looks bad. So here it completely eats the line. That means that we will need some sort of a retaining wall, something volumetric, while here it's a little bit better, but then it becomes just kind of tapers off. So how do we fix that? Well, first of all, let me take this line here, copy, and copy it to the side by, let's say, that's 11 meters. That's way too much. Let's say 4 meters, right? I don't want to go wider than 4 meters. So something like that. And then let me hide the landscape geometry, which means that to just keep it balanced, I will copy this one to the side of, by 4 meters as well. So I have that going on. And let me, do I loft between these? Yeah, I think I need to loft between these. So let me actually scale 1D, scale them in one direction, and just extend them. And also this, scale 1D from this point to this point, and I'm not specifying the second point, I'm just kind of extending it, right? So stretching those lines out. Okay, show selected. Where's my landscape? It's not here, so that means the layer is hidden. Okay, so I have that. Now let me loft these two lines here, and I'm not deleting them. Notice how I'm not deleting the lines. I have them there, but now I also have the surface, and I'll loft these two lines here as well. I'll select these two lofts and extrude surface upwards by whatever amount, doesn't matter. And I'll use on this, on my landscape, I'll use Boolean. Do I need to use Boolean? Yeah, I kind of do, don't I? Yeah, so Boolean difference. So I cut out from this landscape with these two boxes, and then I get rid of the boxes. So now you can see what I'm aiming to do, right? That this is the pathway that we're creating, and this is also going to be the pathway, but it's going down, so it's going to be a little bit different, right? Which is also quite cool, I think. Right. So now let's start working with this side, and then we will continue working on this, because this one is going to be a little bit easier to do, I think. To do this one, I think all we need to do so we have a pathway here. That means we just need to move this curve from this point to where, you know, it starts cutting, and also this one move from this point to this. And I will use project. Remember, we already used project. I will use it again. Project. Select curves to project. So these two will be projected. Enter. These two will be projected on this poly surface. Enter. And notice how they get projected in a weird way. So they get projected on the bottom of the poly surface as well as the top. Yeah, that's going to happen because, you know, these two curves are taken and they're kind of being pushed downwards until they hit the geometry. And if they hit it twice, then it's going to create two sets of lines. That's fine. I have this selected. So then I will press explode or type in explode. And I will just unselect the top ones, the ones that I want to keep. And I will delete the other ones, the two other ones, right? So I have that done, and now I can actually get rid of the straight ones here because I have the squiggly lines done here. Okay, so we have these guys. What do we do with them? Well, we can use split. So we can take this geometry and split it with these curves, right? So let me try that. Split. So I select the geometry and I split it with this curve and this curve. Let's see if it's going to let me. Enter. Split failed. Objects may not intersect, or intersections may not split object, right? So it's not enough to just have these two curves here. I need to have more. Well, actually, it is enough. And to make it work, I need to get rid of the sides just for a second. And how do we do that? Oh, I know. Let's take this geometry, or rather, don't select anything. Let's type in extract SRF, extract surface. So it basically lets you select the surface and get a copy of it from a poly surface, which is really useful. So extract surface, select surfaces to extract. I just select this one, but before I do that, I will need to make sure that copy is set to yes, so that it's kind of making a copy as I'm extracting it. That, enter, and now it's copied, right? So if I kind of move it up or down, you can see that the original is still here, but now I have like a separate surface thing here going on, which is great. That's exactly what I want. So let me take that surface and move it to helper, like that. And let me take the landscape geometry and hide it so that it's everything is kind of clean in terms of layers. So now, if I select my surface and I type in split, and I select my cutting objects, which is this curve and this curve, and hit enter, it actually splits the surface. The more you know. Okay, so we have that going on. We have this split surface, and what do I want to do with it? Well, actually, I just want to make it a little bit thicker. That's all. Nothing more. So I will just, and I don't even need the ones on the sides. I just need this guy right here. So I'll just use offset surface, and give it like 0.1, like 10 centimeters of thickness. I think maybe that's too much. Let's do 0.07, 7 centimeters of thickness, just a thin little plate. If we look at it, how it looks like on the surface, if I go to Arctic view, then you'll understand why I added, right? It shows the pathway, right? And then it flattens out here once it meets the ground. There are some weird stuff that I'm not sure about that's happening here and here that I also want to fix on these corners. So let's quickly do that. I will just take a polyline tool and I'll just draw a polyline from here to here, and then I will draw it to maybe here, like that. So I have this kind of L shape polyline, right? I will offset it by 0.05. That's 5 centimeters. No, we need 0.1 at least. So 10 centimeters. I will loft between the two. Why did it? Well, it's not happy here for some reason. Maybe that's because of the rounded corner. So when we will use offset, let me choose corner to be sharp. And now loft. Yeah, there we go. That's much better. That's much cleaner. And then I will just use extrude surface, select. For some reason it became two surfaces. I think that's because of the sharp corner. That's fine. Extrude both of them up by yeah, just until they reach kind of the top here, and then just add a little bit more. So how do you know the actual height, how much you're extruding while you're snapping to a point? Well, look at this number here. Wait, do you see my mouse? Yeah, you do. My mouse. Look at this number here. When I snap, I can see that it's 0.364 meters of extrusion, meaning that if I just write 0.4, it's going to be like 3.6 centimeters higher than the ground level. So it's going to do this thing, right? And then just to make it nicer, I will fillet edge. Next radius 0.3. And I'll just fillet that corner here and fillet that corner here. Just, you know, to make it a little bit nicer. Perhaps same thing needs to happen here, right? So I just, now I'll do it real fast. Again, as per usual, like that, and it kind of finishes off here, like that. Offset, like that. Loft, delete. Extrude surface, select this bad boy and this bad boy up by, do we use the same, maybe we should use the same height, like that. So I'm just snapping to the top of this, fillet edge, 0.3 is great. Perfect, okay, we're done. So this becomes a little bit obnoxious, like the intersection between these two. So it's either this wall that needs to be trimmed away or this wall that needs to be trimmed away. And you can choose whichever you want. In this case, I will probably trim away this wall with this retaining one. It just makes a little bit more sense in the later texture making and so on. So let's do Boolean difference. We subtract from this wall, enter with this wall, enter. Oh, whoa, whoa, hello. What's up? Let me take these two guys and isolate them and look at them separately. Are you, what are you? What? Closed solid polysurface, okay. And what are you? Open polysurface. Why are you open? Why, hello, why are, oh, your bottom is open. So if you have an open polysurface like that, for some reason, then you just select it and you type in cap. Because the bottom is flat, so it's going to cap nicely, and then you can do your Boolean difference from here, enter with this, enter, perfect. So now you can see that it's kind of hide that. It hugs the retaining wall quite nicely, right? Why did I undo it? Redo. Okay. Let me show. So this is how it works. And I assume if I isolate this and look at the bottom of it, yeah, so this is empty as well. So I need to cap the bottom of it as well. Okay, let's show. So these are just, these guys are just floating in space with magnets or something like that, which is weird, but I think I will leave it be for now because I don't want this to become like a 6-hour tutorial. I will let them be for now. I think that's fine. There are intersections that are happening here with this one, and actually all of these are there are quite a few intersections going on here. And actually, now when I think about this whole gap here is awkward, right? Let's fix it. So I will take a box tool, a 3-point box, and I will just create a base for that box starting, let's say, from that point, going until this point, going until this point, right? So that's my base, and just filling in until it reaches here. So we have that. At least the bottom part is cleaned up. The top part is by far not cleaned up, right? So we need to clean it up. How do we do that? We need to decide on the height of these 2 points. So I'll take that's the first step. And not just that, it's also this edge right here needs to have like a framework to hold those panel lines, those ribbons here. So this is going to start becoming a tricky task, and I think it's nice to solve at least one tricky task in these tutorials, just to show you that you indeed need to clean up the detailing in architectural models, and it is an important thing. Because if you show something like this, let me hide this, to a construction worker, they'll just laugh and leave, and you know, they will not do it for you, right? So you need to solve this. Okay, we don't need landscape for this, we don't need trees for this. Oh, and I forgot to solve the other side of the pathway, but we will come back to that in just a second. We do need to solve this. Okay, so first things first. This, and this height, we don't need it, so that it's not in the way. I think I will duplicate edge, the inner edge here, for this this surface, like that, right? So I have this is a curve now that I have, and I will extend. Wait, I can't extend it. Shit. So I need to use that edge as some sort of a trimming mechanism, as a way of how to trim the geometry. So what I'm actually, yeah, I know. I'll just move it down and I will extrude the curve. So extrude CRV up by a lot. Doesn't matter, but by a lot, right? So extrude it up like that, which means I can already use it to trim away this portion, but I don't care about that portion. I care about cleaning up this part. Okay, so we have that, and it is going to be cleaned up there. For now, let me get rid of the box. That's it. It's just in the way. And fortunately, this curvature here, it ends at a 90 degrees angle, which means we can use this direction from here to here, right? We can use that direction to actually take this surface, this edge, duplicate edge here, and extrude curve, use extrude curve on it. So now you can see when I use extrude curve, it's, you know, that the direction is obnoxious. It's definitely not what I need. But if I use direction tool, if I click on direction here, then I can specify that actually the direction needs to be from here to here, like you use this direction, right? So now I can extrude it any way I want. Okay, so we have that done. That's perfect. And now we can use this surface as well as this. We can join them up, join, and we can actually, let's go for offset SRF, offset surface, distance, I don't know, 5 meters. Ooh, the inside became real bad, so not 5 meters, let's do a meter. Yeah, meter is fine. So I just thickened it so that I can use Boolean difference, right? If I have it completely flat, you know, without thickness, Boolean difference will not work. But if I have it with thickness, Boolean difference will work, right? So now, let's clean it up. I select all of the ribbons. I don't know if all of them are selected. I assume all of them are selected. I use Boolean difference. And I trim away with, so I hit enter and then I select what am I cutting with. So this is my cutting geometry. Right here, I hit enter. That's it. And then I don't need my cutting geometry anymore. I just hit delete. That's it. All of these are now cleaned up and aligned with my wall here. So this area right here becomes a little bit awkward, but that's fine. We will fix it by doing duplicate edge again. Ah, come on. Not on you, on you. Duplicate edge. It will need to kind of smoothly connect there though, because of the framing, but that's fine. Offsetting the curve inwards by, yeah, actually 0.1 is reasonable. So I have like a offset of that edge. I loft between the two, like that. And then I just simply extrude curve. Extrude surface, not curve. Extrude SRF, because this is a surface, right? Extrude surface, and I extrude it up by, I don't know, 0.3. It's hard to see what's going on, so let me change this to Arctic view. That seems okay. That seems clean enough. Like that, and then all we need to do is now, you know, finish cleaning this area right here. So let's do that. Let me go to shaded, back to shaded view, and let me take, oh man, oh boy. Let me take extract SRF, extract surface again, use copy on the surface right here, and choose a direction that is from this point to this point, right? So I will extrude surface, but I will choose direction to be from here to here, like that. And I'll kind of finish extruding until it reaches the middle, let's say. Something like this. Is that reasonable? That is okay. I will need to clean this portion up, of course. I don't like how this works. But I think if I move this by minus, but then this part is shitty. That's a tricky one. That is a tricky one to do. But I think we can use solid points on and just slightly lie. Don't tell anyone, but I will lie a little bit and just move these 4 control points down so that it doesn't reach the top here. And I know it's going to make these kind of things stick out a bit, but that's fine. We will not look at it too close and it's going to be okay. Boolean difference. We cut out from this one with the wall, enter, and then we just get rid of this unnecessary bit here. So now it kind of connects perfectly, and now we want this and this to connect, to be kind of joined into one system. So we use Boolean union. So now these two are the same. All right. Now for the wall. Yeah, I think it's just going to be pretty straightforward, right? We just create a wall of a box with 3 points from here to here to here. We extend the box, doesn't matter by how much, and then we take these two. And we will need to trim, yes. So I will use isolate, and basically the box will need to be trimmed with this one, but since or use Boolean difference with this one, but since this one is a little bit too small, it would just kind of carve out a small portion of the box. So I need to actually go to wireframe view and just take that surface. So extract SRF, extract the bottom surface from here. And I don't care about the rest of the ribbon anymore, so I'll hide it. I only have the surface, and then I will scale 1D from here to here. Scale it out like so, just to make sure that it kind of intersects with the box on all sides, and use not Boolean difference, but use trim. Trim, I cut with this, enter, I cut away this. Hello, I cut away this. Okay, it doesn't let me trim, what the heck. Let me move from here. Like I'll just move it a little bit and scale it a little bit more. Maybe now it's going to let me trim. Yeah, okay, so now it works. Just make sure that it's kind of intersecting with all sides of the box, or else it's not going to work. So now I delete everything that I don't need except for the bottom of the box, and use cap on it to fill it up. Show. this is how it looks now. I think this is clean enough. I can actually connect these two by using Boolean union into one big happy family, and actually now I can connect these three Boolean union into one big happy family. And now I need to do the same thing with the other side. So here I will do it much faster than how long it took me before. Duplicate edge on this edge right here, extrude surface, nope, not surface, extrude curve up, extrude curve. This curve gets extruded, but the direction is actually around this edge here, so it gets extruded like that, gets joined up, join, offset surface, gets offset outwards by 1 meter, gets moved down, Boolean difference, nope, Boolean difference actually is used on the ribbons, but to select the ribbons easily I hide the floor slab, and then I select all of the ribbons. Then I use Boolean difference with the surface, enter. Then I don't need the poly surface anymore because I already trimmed everything off. Then I do duplicate edge. I duplicate this inner edge again. I will use offset on it, 0.1 meters, so 10 centimeters. That is going to be like a mullion that's holding those ribbons, at least on one side. On the other side, they are just being held by magnets. Don't worry about that. Then we use loft to loft between the two curves. Then we use extrude surface, and I will extrude it by 0.3 if I remember correctly. Upwards, then I will use duplicate, no, not duplicate edge, but rather extract surface. On the surface right here, I will extrude the surface, but I will not be extruding it in this direction. Rather, I will describe the direction for it. So D, enter, let's say a direction between these 2 points, like that. And then after I'm done, I see that it's a little bit too steep because it kind of goes beyond the top of this middle wall here. So I'll use solid PT on because this is not a surface and not a curve, but rather a poly surface. So only solid PT on will work. And I will move it down so that it intersects properly. And then I can use Boolean difference to cut away from the surface, poly surface with this poly surface, delete the top. Right, so now I have these two mullions, which I can use Boolean union to merge, and then I have the only thing that's left is this this box thing here in the bottom. So I will just create a box, 3-point box from here to here to here, and up. I'll just make sure that it's kind of high up. Then I will take the box and the ribbon, a single ribbon, a mullion, and I will isolate them. And actually from the ribbon, if I remember correctly, I'll go to wireframe, I will extract surface because I only care about the bottom surface. That's how far the box should reach, just the bottom surface. So I just extract it and I hide the ribbon, and now I will use scale 1D to scale up the bottom surface in a way that I want, so that it definitely intersects with the box. And then I will use it to trim away the top of the box. Then I will delete it and select the box and cap it to create a top surface on it. Show to show everything, and just kind of use Boolean union on my walls. Boolean union, there we go. Then I will select all of the mullions and all of the ribbons, and I'll use Boolean union on all of them. Boolean union failed. Sometimes it does that, sometimes it fails, and it will give you like a text dot where it failed. So let's investigate. what would happen if I just take these two and use Boolean union? Will it fail again? No, it doesn't. That's why I said sometimes. So I'll just do it 2 by 2, or rather, let me try 4 here. So 4 made it, and here they made it. And now if I do it bit by bit, all of them are now Boolean together except this guy. And now it's a part of the family as well. Okay, so now we have all of the Booleans here as one big happy family. I'll do the same thing with these ones. So I'll just select like a first few. Okay, that's good. Boolean union these guys. That's good. And these guys. Okay. Wait. And this one as well, please. Select polysurface to union. There we go. Okay. So this is one piece of geometry. This is one piece of geometry. That's one piece. That's one piece. All of the walls are one piece of geometry. I want to keep these separate because those are too small. Seems good. Okay. So now we can move on. Let's move on to creating the pathways, and I think we will call it a day once we're done with the pathways. So here the way these pathways work, I think is fine. I might want to introduce some sort of a railing because this is pretty damn steep. So let me just do duplicate edge and duplicate edge here. Extrude curve and extrude up the and then they will look so bad though. Do we not? Maybe let's not do railings. Let's do steps instead of railings, because railings will look super bad. So how do we do steps? Well, actually I think we can just kind of contour it, right? We can just contour. So let me show you one tool. Let me isolate the pathway first. Isolate. So we are just looking at the pathway. And before I will kind of continue working with it, let me just do something like this. And what the? Hello? Oh, my bad. Like that, and let us do. So this is one of the more advanced tools that I'm not showing you during these tutorials, but it's later you'll be able to kind of use it at your own pace, so to say, and then you'll be able to do whatever you want with it. Anyway, we have some sort of a form, right? And we want to have at the fixed step, we want to have lines through it. A tool that does that, or not lines, cuts through it. A tool that does that is called contour. Contour asks us for base plane, so I'll just say we start from the bottom. Asks us for direction of the contour, so for that I will go to the right view, for instance, and I'll say, perfectly up. And asks us for distance between contours. So in this case, it's 20 centimeters. Sure, 20 is fine. Whoop. Makes a bunch of slices through our shape. If I move it to the side, I can see all of these are curves that I can use planar surface on, for instance, and I can, kind of create floor slabs and so on for this shape. So it's a nice little tool. In this case, we will be using contours for two things. First one is going to be creating steps here that are not going to be like that fixed 17.5 centimeters high, 34. What's the width of the step? Of a step? Like the average width? 30? 30 centimeters wide. I keep forgetting that. 17.5 by 30. 15? Okay. Either way, these will be much more custom steps, but they will still be steps. So how do we do that? We will use extract surface, and we will just extract just the top surface from our pathway, and I will isolate it. Actually, we will just be working with this extracted surface, and I will use contour on it every 15 centimeters, right? Because that's the height of the step that we're after. So every 15 centimeters, it asks us to give it a base point. So not so fast. Basically, we just need to give it a base point. And I'll just jump to the right view, and I'll just give it a base point. It doesn't matter where. I'll just give it here, for instance, somewhere below the shape, right? And then once I click, then it will ask me direction perpendicular to contour plane. So perpendicular to, meaning I need to show completely up, like perfect up. Make sure that ortho is on and just give it a up vector and click again. And then distance between contours, this is where we do indeed write 0.15. So 0.15, 15 centimeters, makes a bunch of contours for us. Some of them are completely useless, others are quite useful, right? So that's nice. Let me delete the surface and let's convert these contours into steps. So what we can do, honestly, if I were doing it, I would be kind of straightening them out and so on, but we don't care. So let's create the first step here. And actually, let me select all of these curves, create a new layer and call it step curves. Change the right click on it, change object layer, and make that layer like orange or something. No, orange is, I can't see orange. With the screen, let's use green. Okay, so we have that, and now let me show. So now we see, we can see what the hell is going on and where they are located. And we can also see where the first step needs to be created, right? So it needs to, if I look at it from here, it needs to go here, horizontally here, and makes a step like so, right? So, okay, let's do that. I need to do duplicate edge just real fast, just to get that curve, you know, that last curve there. But I will take this curve and holding down the, no, not the Alt key, but rather I will type in copy. I will not be using Alt plus gumball. Instead, I will be using a command called copy. Copy, enter, and I'll choose to copy it vertically from here to here. That's it. Honestly, that's it. Because now I can take this curve and take this curve, and I can loft between them like that. And then I can take this curve and this curve and loft between them like that. So guess what you need to do now? Well, what I need to do, what you need to sit through as I'm going to be doing it. I need to create all of these steps. Well, of course, not here, because here those curves don't matter. The steepness is not that high, but somewhere from here I need to start creating steps, right? Let's do that. Let us do that. So I will select object, select all of the step curves, and actually I'll select these two surfaces that I've already created, and I'll isolate them. And now I will be creating the steps. So one trick that you can do is selecting all of the curves and copying them, holding down the Alt key and copying them up by 0.15, because you know that every step is 0.15 meters high, 15 centimeters, because that's the contour gap between the contours, right? So to make a flat, come on. To make each step flat, you can just do, you know, 0.15, sorry, movement, right? Before, because it's a locked value. It's a locked value. So first I like to do all of the flat ones, like that. It's basically just every other one. Oh no, keep messing it up. Oh no, come on. There we go. So that works. And I just do it in pairs, right? Like that, like that, like that, like that. Okay, and this is the last one. And then I do it vertically, right? But to do it vertically, actually, all I need to do is just select all of the ones that are in the bottom. So this guy, hello, this guy. Can I please let me go to step curves tool, make sure that it's the active one, and lock the helper tool so that I don't accidentally select my surfaces anymore. This will just help me select the correct curves. So I just select the ones that are in the bottom, like that, and those are fixed. So, and then I just extrude surface, crap, not extrude surface, oh no, I need to select them again. Extrude curve, not extrude surface. Let me select them again real fast. Just like that, and then we do extrude CRV, extrude curve, and we extrude them up by 0.15. Keep saying 0.5. So now we have our steps, right? I can unlock my helper. I can actually get rid of my curves. So cell CRV delete, select curves delete. I can take all of these steps and join them up into one form, into one shape, to show everything. And now I see that while this is fine, you know, the way steps look, they're kind of okay. The edge of them looks real bad. So what I'm thinking about is perhaps we could use this border and kind of, you know, hide that ugly edge here. Yeah, I think that's going to be better. All right. So I will. Unfortunately, we have this filleted, which is, whoops, didn't need to do it that fast. But I think what we can do is we can. How does that look like? And that even leaves a gap, huh? A lot of things to think about. What if... Okay, what if we do duplicate edge and we grab this curve here, you know, a curve of the pathway, and this curve here. So we have these two guys, and then we kind of extrude them. Extrude CRV, extrude them up by 0.3, something like this. I think that's going to do the trick. So we have that, and then we take these and we use offset surface, offset SRF to offset this one inwards and this one inwards. Ooh, not by 1 meter, not by 1 meter. By 10 centimeters, so it's 0.1, like that, so that the size of it is the same. And we don't need it to be that long, so I will take a box and just kind of can we just trim it off Yeah, I think we can just trim it off, right? Yeah, let's just do this. Bam. Draw a curve in the plan, sorry, in the top view, like that. And with the curve, use trim and trim off this and this. Perfect. So we have this kind of opening trimmed away, and then I will cap here. I will cap here. You can see that the staircase is still kind of messed up. So let's see if actually we can use Boolean difference on the staircase with these two tools here. We actually can't. Boolean difference failed. That's super nice to see always. Okay, so it fails there for some reason on this edge right here. Ooh. Yikes, that's something that we shouldn't zoom into that much. So the staircase is messing up now. Actually, I know a trick. Let me show you. So if I do duplicate edge and I just grab this edge and this edge here, these two edges, right? And then I take the staircase and I use isolate. I can go to the top view. And here just I need to make sure that that seems okay and that seems okay. So I have like two edges that are definitely cutting through the staircase. So then I can just use them to trim this part and this part. That's it. And then I just delete them. Use show. And now this should be kind of, let's call it clean enough. Not clean, but clean enough for this to work. And then I'll just use fillet edge. 0.3, yes, always. Here, here, and then here. Oh, okay, it doesn't like 0.3, so let's do 0.2. Yeah, that's good. So we end up with this kind of a. I know it's green, so it looks weird, but if we do blue, it's kind of okay. You know, it's good enough. So we have the staircase done here. For this one, maybe all we need to do is just take one of the lines. Let's take both of them and isolate them, actually. So we have both of these lines, and what if I just offset one of them to the side by, yeah, 10 centimeters, and actually create a box, 3-point box from here to here, and here I just use like a meter, and the height of it is 0.05, like 5 centimeters. Why does it keep going downwards? I don't understand. Go up, 0.05. There we go. And then I will copy and maybe, oh. So I have a brick, and then I will take that brick and kind of do something like this with it, and then take the two bricks, copy, and do something like this with them, and then I will start scaling, not scaling, but scale 1D. So let's say this one is that long. This one is that. Maybe this one is a little bit smaller. So I don't have a plan here. I'm just kind of doing random bricks at this point, right? And I'll start copying them from here to here to here, maybe to here. So there's a little bit of a gap that's left. That's fine. Let me actually take these two, copy them from here to here. That's good. So as you can see, no plan, just messing around with boxes. Okay, so now since I have like this portion kind of sorted out, let me use copy, and let me just, actually, why are the bricks so small? That's 10 centimeters. Let me do scale 1D, and along this direction, let me do 0.25. And along this direction, let me do, so this was 1 meter, let me increase it twice, so that will become 2 meters. Okay, this is much more reasonable. Copy from here to, oh, actually, can we mirror this? Mirror, because I used mirror once and you saw what happened, so now let me do it again. This time it actually works. Grab some of these, move them from here to, let's say, let me go for wireframe view, to here. So that seems okay. Let me copy from here, something like that. That seems okay. Maybe we can make a copy of this, rotate it 180 degrees. Why does it look the same? It's absolutely the same. Okay, let me just grab that. Copy. No. I don't know. Maybe here. Maybe here. Let's do here. So that's fine. That's working out. Then I need this line. Oh, my bad. This line of bricks. I know it's not that interesting to look at, but I just, you know, it's just something that needs to be done. So I'm just doing it. Detail work, basically. Okay, that's I think that's good enough, because people can kind of walk around here, and let's look at how it actually looks like. That's fine. Looks okay. Don't need the curves anymore. Show. So this is what we have, and these are like the floaty boys. So for the floaty boys, maybe we don't have them here. This one gets gone. That. So in terms of floaty boys, let's do one last thing. So some surfaces again, right? Retaining surfaces, I mean. So from here to here, and then to perhaps here, and then it will need to kind of continue. So I'm just kind of drawing one single curve and moving it from the point there to point here. Okay. Whew. So we have that going on. This is going to be like, it's the start of my retaining wall. Let me join it up. And the other retaining wall is going to be located along this edge, which just kind of probably will extend forever, right? No, not forever. I mean, it will extend until it reaches right this surface here, right here. And it will need to go inwards. Okay, so this one goes inwards. This one goes, sorry, this one goes outwards. This one goes inwards. And this one will need to be also going down. Okay, let's do isolate. So I have my landscape, I have my two curves. So this one is kind of easy, right? We just extrude surface, or I keep saying that, extrude CRV, extrude curve. We extrude it up and we just check. So this would be 0.842. So let's do 0.9 like that. And then we kind of offset surface to the side by 0.1. So 10 centimeter retaining wall. It's quite thin, but I think it would hold a meter if I'm not mistaken. A meter of ground is a heavy thing. Well, let's leave it as 0.1. So we have that, and I will use just Boolean difference from the landscape with the surface. That's it. We have our retaining wall system in place. And then here, this one is going to be a little bit more tricky, because first of all, we need this curve to extend until it reaches the edge of the landscape, right? So let's do like 5 meters. No, let's do 10 meters. Yeah, that's good enough. So we just kind of keep the direction and we just extend it like so. And then we do doobie-doobie-doo. Wait, are you going down? Why is this curve going down? Oh no. Control Z. Oh, because here it's going down. Okay, so maybe that's fine. Maybe that is fine, but I'm not sure. Are you going down here? No, you're not. Are you lifting up here though? Yes, you are. So stuff is weird. How do we fix that? Well, we need to flatten this curve out, right? We need it to its points to be in the same height. So just the one that's going down, I will move, enter, vertical. So V, enter, from this point to same height as this point, right? So I just kind of move it up to the correct position. And now I can move it away, or rather extend this line by moving its control point, and I can use, I think I used 10, right? Oh, come on, 10, please. There we go. So then move from this point to this point by 10. Click. There we go. Okay, so we have that curve here. Let's come back to shaded view. And let's see what needs to be done. I assume the curve, let's just in case, let's just move that curve down by some amount. Here, so that it's in the ground, we will be cutting it away with the ground either way, so it doesn't matter. So I'm moving it down. And then I am going to offset it inwards by 0.1, like that. Loft these two curves into one poly surface, and offset surface upwards by oh shit, I don't even know. Maybe we don't use offset surface then, because with offset surface you can't snap to stuff. With extrude surface you can. So I'll use extrude surface, and I will just make sure that wireframe that all of my segments are selected. Extrude surface, enter, and I will snap to the top here, maybe, or maybe no, maybe that's the wrong way to look at it. So let's say this is 0.6, let's do 0.8, so 20 centimeters extra. Okay, so we have that. I think that looks fine. I mean, it's quite wonky here, but I think that's okay. Right, so now let's clean it up. So I select the polysurface boolean difference with the landscape. So I have it carved out. No, I don't. Why is it breaking here? I don't know. Either way, let's first get rid of the tail here. So I'll just create a box with 3 points, right? So the box that is going to follow an edge here, and it will kind of extend it pretty high. And then boolean difference from this with the box. Shit, still kind of makes a mistake there. Okay, let's see. What? Open polysurface. Okay, so it's open. Why? Oh, I know. For some reason, when we use extrude surface, it forgets the bottom. So let me undo a bunch of times. And here, where I choose to extrude SRF, extrude surface, and I select wireframe, I select my surfaces, enter. I'll make sure that delete input is set to no, false, right? So delete input no, and then I believe I use 0.8, if I don't mistake. If I'm not mistaken. Let's try again. Box, 3-point box from here to here to here to here. And then let's do boolean difference from this surface here. Enter with this polysurface here. Okay, this time it works. Why are you being so obnoxious? Either way. So now these are 3 separate entities. That's fine. We can just use Boolean union to join them up together. And then we can use Boolean difference to trim away from this retaining wall with this landscape so that it rests on the landscape quite nicely, right? And then if I show everything, I can see a bunch of stuff here that I don't really need. Maybe we trim away from those with 3-point box, like that. So we trim away from here, 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 and here from these extrusions. Boolean difference with this box. Okay, that's a little bit cleaner. And for some reason, some of them are sunken in the landscape. What's up with that? Okay, let's clean it up as well. I think I'm rushing too much. Let me isolate, and I see that some of these bricks are lower than the others, right? And I don't want that. So I will just go to actually the right view, because here it's going to be very easy for me to select all of the ones that are too low and kind of move them up by 0.05. That's it. I fixed it. Yay. That was easy. Show. That looks okay. This looks fine. I mean, they're not the best, but they look okay. Let's go for Arctic view just to see. So we have those gaps. I don't like how these look. So let me go to shaded view and isolate this again, and this time I will use chamfer edge, and I will use 0.01, or before I use chamfer edge, it's a heavy tool. I will use I will just save the file, and now I will use chamfer edge. Next chamfer distance should be like 1 centimeter, so 0.01. And I will select all of the edges that I want to chamfer. So I'll just kind of drag around all of the edges, hit enter, and enter again, and now we wait. Let me grab some smoothie. There we go. So chamfered, looks like nothing changed. If I zoom in, then you will notice that all of the bricks have chamfering now, which means that if we go to Arctic view, you know, they look good, which is nice. That's what you want. You want your bricks to look good. Okay, show. Still looks good. We have the pathway. Chamfer edge on, or actually no. Let's not start chamfering like every single thing. That will just be bad. So that's fine. That looks okay. Then we have that looks okay. I kind of would like to have like a gap here, or not a gap, like a fence here and so on, but I think that's okay. What the hell is going on there? Oh, those are curves? Yeah, those are curves. Cell CRV, I don't need curves anymore, delete those. And then we have a pathway here. Okay, let me think what kind of tool didn't I use. Actually, I do have a possibility to go to the course website. If I can find it, yeah, there we go. Course website, and we do have a PDF of all of the tools that I want to show you. Where is it? Hello? Just a second. Yeah, there we go, Rhino command list. So we have that. So points I did, line, polyline, curve, interpolate, curve, circle, ellipse, arc I did, rectangle, polygon, surface, points, planar. Yes, we did. Planar surface we did, network surface I don't want to show you because students tend to break their geometry with this. Loft is a better version of network surface for beginners. Edge surface patch we showed. Box, sphere, cylinder, pipe, sweep 1, sweep 2, revolve. Oh, sweep 1, sweep 2, revolve, extrude. So revolve is very difficult. Okay, I can show you revolve as a separate entity. Sweep 1 and sweep 2 as well. Because it's hard for this particular pavilion to incorporate something that will have that. Offset surface, trim, split, rebuild, extend, explode, fillet, chamfer, fillet corners, twin curves, points on, solid points on, project, fillet edge, chamfer edge. Okay. Yeah, okay. So we have everything, like I have shown everything I wanted to show except two tools. First one is revolve. So let's say you want to make a vase, right? Let's say you want to make a vase like this, right? How do you do that? Well, you use revolve tool. In the top view, I will just, where is that vase? I'll just kind of look at it. It goes down, tapers like that. Okay. So in the top view, I will just draw in the completely wrong scale. I will draw the, how do you call it? The corner, no, not the corner, the section of the vase, actually half of the section because it's symmetrical of the vase. So like that, maybe it's here, then it kind of goes like that and tapers down here, and then does that and Yeah, that's good enough. Actually, it's much more fat in the bottom, like that. Hey, battery critical low. Let's do this then. And hide that. And unlock that and move that here. There we go. So that section though, we have that, and actually, yes. Actually, this is fine. Just to show you it as an example, right? And then I will create like a bottom of it. Join it up, and I will say revolve. Select curves to revolve this curve, enter. Start of revolve axis, we start from the center of the bottom, we revolve around, you know, this axis here, start angle 0 and angle 360, that's it. In the perspective view, we have created a revolved vase. Yay. If you want it to be, you know, not completely thin, you can mess around with first of all fillet, or rather no, first of all offset. So give it some thickness, 0.5, I don't know. Then use fillet corners, 0.5, I still don't know. For some reason it doesn't close off there. Let's close it off there. Join, close curve to close it off in the bottom. And then use fillet corners with 0.2 to fillet them here and here, and then use the same kind of revolve. Start of revolve axis is, let's see here, revolves around the vertical axis, starts from 0, ends with 360. We look at it. Beautiful, right? Beautiful vase. The tool that I'm now using is called EMAP. If you want to, yeah, sure. It's a useful tool when you need to check for continuity. You know, if stuff is actually kind of continuously shaded, for instance here, right? If it's actually bleeding well from one corner to the other, and it seems like it does, right? But for other things, it just kind of messes with your head too much, so I don't use it that often. There's also a tool that's called Zebra, which will also let you investigate the curvature of your shape, which again, you need to know what you're doing to actually be able to use it. That's why I'm not showing it properly in this course. So now let's end this tutorial with one last tool, which is going to be sweep. Sweep between two rails. So it's called SWEEP2, sweep 2. And the way it works, it needs you to have two rails, right? So let me draw a single curve that's doing its thing. So that's one curve. Let me draw another one just above it. And let's say this one, well, for now, let's leave them as they are, right? Just two curves, right? And then let me draw what you would probably see a lot in the industry, which is an I-beam. So let me do F10, not F10, F8, F8, polyline, I-beam, right? So let's say, let's not be correct to scale, so I'll just say 3, or 3 is a lot, 1. 1 here, 0.1 here, 0.45, let's say 1.5, nope, let's say 1, 0.45, 0.1, 1, 0.1, 0.445, 1, 0.45, nope, mistake, 0.45, and 1. Okay, so we have our I-beam, right? And it's a little bit too big compared to the rails, but I think that's fine. Let me rotate it up straight, like that. And actually, I will take it and I will move it from its bottom midpoint to the end point here. I'll take the top curve and I will move it from its end point to the top midpoint here, so that everything kind of at the start of things, zoom selected, at the start of things align quite well. There's one more thing that I need to align, and it's the rotation of the I-beam. You can see that the curves are going on at an angle. I want that angle to be 90 degrees according to this section. So the I here is the section of the geometry that's going to be produced. So I need that as close to 90% degrees as possible. So this is actually pretty close. Okay, let me do, now this is all that we need for sweep between two rails to work. So let me do sweep 2 and just read what it asks, right? So it asks for first rail, super, whichever one of these is the first one. Select second rail, super, second. Select cross-section curves. There you go. Enter when done, enter. Drag same point to adjust, enter when done. I don't know what it means, so I just press enter, right? I hit OK. And I have my geometry, which is a very fancy I-beam being created, right? So now this is where it starts becoming quite interesting. It's where you can control the flow of this shape with your two curves, meaning I can do, if we do something like that, right? Sweep 2 between here, oh, hello? Oh, sweep 2. First rail, second rail, section curve, enter, enter, enter. Wow. Cool, huh? I think that's cool. So you can do a lot of crazy stuff with it. Also, don't think that you need to have the gap between the curves always the same. I'm trying to select it. There we go. Like that. All right, much bigger gap here. Sweep 2. From here to here with the cross section, enter, enter. Becomes that. Scales up according to how big the gap is. Again, quite hard to actually incorporate it into this kind of pavilion, but a pretty strong tool when you're modeling out more advanced stuff. All right, let me do Arctic. Let me do turntable. Why are you rotating weird? Stop rotating weird. Okay, that's good. Like that. Okay. So now it's time for you to go and do your projects or your pavilions. Go ahead and have fun. And we will see you in the third tutorial, probably tomorrow or day after tomorrow. And the third one is going to be all about creating architectural drawings from your design. Right? So go have fun. Bye.